Good and welcome to your favorite show, Be the Best You Can Be, on your number one hit music station, EBIS2. I am your dear brother in Christ, Ishmael, specifically Kumalo. Young person at home, this is the time we gather together as young people to interact, equip each other, to help each other be the best version of what God has set out for us to accomplish here on earth. If you're tuning in for the very first time, young person, I want to just tell you that as a show, we exist to empower, to minister hope, to encourage young people, to equip young people to carry out their God-given assignment, to be distinct and walking in dominion and divine destiny as purposed by God. And I would like to bring you our technical greetings from Pumuza Sitsebe and Laki Lamini. And there's also a special greeting coming from our technical team from the International Family Church that continues to make this show possible through their skill sets and their valuable contribution to the show. And young person, yeah, we exist as a show to see to it that you live a purpose-driven life. We don't exist, but you thrive. We don't want you to live by default, but we want you to live a purpose-driven life. And in today's show, we are blessed to have an entrepreneur, an academic at heart, a passionate young person, Ndumi Mthethwa. Are you guys Mthethwa or Mthethwa? Which one do you
there's always, first of all, thank you for having me. There's
Absolute
always
pleasure.
a confusion of Mthethwa and Mthethwa and Mthethwa. But whatever feels comfortable as to say, it sounds, I'd rather stick to the Mthethwa.
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 But the praise names are all the same. Dingswayo, Nyambose,
Chobe, Gafana,
Shlubi, you know. So that's good. For a young person who doesn't know who you are, would you be so kind as to tell us about yourself?
My name is Nondumiso, but most people call me Ndumi. That's what I go by. That's what I'm used to. And as you said, my surname is Mthethwa, Jobe Nyambose Dingswayo. My profession is in the HR industry, so I'm the HR manager at Egupoleni Garden Villas. And I also run a restaurant called Buzobo Restaurant. Outside of work, I'm a very adventurous person. You can call me Dora the Explorer. I love to experience different culinary dishes, so I just love food. I go out and experience different restaurants. I also love to read and write during my spare time. I like to draw and paint. Most people don't know that I can actually paint. It takes a long time, but once I have the time to do it, I try and, concentrate on that. Anyone that knows me will know that I'm a very humble person, God-fearing, and I always try and radiate a positive spirit, even when I'm not feeling my best. I always try to give people a good energy. So in a nutshell, that's who I am.
Talk role models, inspirations. You've interacted with a lot of people, some of them well accomplished and some on their journey to accomplishment.
Yeah.
Who are those people that inspire you?
Well, I have a few. I would say I don't want to go a bit international. I want to start maybe here at home and say, I call her my sister. Her name is Ndumi Mthethwa. Powerhouse female, extraordinary woman. I think she really goes above and beyond, and her personality just stands out. I feel like when Ndumi walks into a room and all heads turn, not because of the fact that she's powerful, but because there's just so much light in her. And if you can just hear her speak on, things that she's passionate about, you have her ear. It's like you just want to constantly listen to her. So those are the type of women I like to surround myself with.
Academic background, anything you are willing to share as far as your academic background?
Academic background, my academic background. Okay, so my bachelor's I got from Nelson Mandela University. I was studying public administration, majoring in industrial and organizational psychology. And then I just developed a passion and love for people. So I thought, you know what, maybe I just want to continue this and do my master's. So that's when I started applying overseas, because I told myself that I want to further my studies, but not in Swaziland or not in South Africa. So I got a bit of rejections, but I was persistent and I continued applying until I got an acceptance, and I did my master's degree in human resource management and employment relations with a cum laude, by the way. So
Congrats.
thank you.
That doesn't come cheap, especially at master's level.
Yeah,
It comes with a lot of pain and sacrifice.
it does.
But let's now come back to, you are now in the business field. How did that come about? How did you discover this is something that you wanted to pursue?
Having an entrepreneurial spirit, I think I've always known that I was different in a sense that, God chose me, and I think God chooses everyone and gives them different talents and gifts. But for me, I just always I always knew something was different about me. But also I had no choice because I grew up in a family where it was business oriented, from my grandmothers, grandmothers, and grandparents. They've always just stuck to the business concept. So that's how our parents, brought us up. So I had no choice in a way. They were just like, get inside the swimming pool and swim and, survive. Even if you don't know how to swim, you'll figure it out. So. Yeah. That's how I got to know what it's like to run businesses because of the family I come from.
Didn't coming from a business-minded family not instill a fear or maybe a disdain of sorts or hatred for business, because there's a lot of traveling that is involved, there's a lot of sacrifice that's involved, there are a lot of people that you have to interact with, and you then get to a point, it's like growing up in being a pastor's kid, you then come and say, if this is what it takes, then I don't want this. Didn't that make you feel that same way?
Honestly, at some point it did, because I've always thought of myself as an introvert, and most days, you have to start separating business from personal, and then you have to ensure that you also take time to yourself. But when it's, a business oriented family, sometimes all you speak about is business, and it's just like, can we relax a bit? Can we talk about other things other than money? And but I've come to get used to it, and I try and tell myself that now I have to draw the line between business and personal, which is very important.
So for the person who does, I know you mentioned the businesses that you're involved with. What sort of business line are these businesses in, and are these is this the only business line that you want to pursue for the rest of your life?
When I started first, just to answer your question, so I'm in the hospitality industry, and it's something that I never really anticipated getting into, or something that I was interested in, but I've always known that I just had a love for cooking and somehow wanted to incorporate cooking in my daily life. But then, like I said, I was kind of just thrown into the swimming pool and made to swim. So as I'm in the hospitality industry, I'm starting to do more research about what are some of the things that I need to do to learn more about the industry. So I knew nothing about it, and the type of niche that I'm in requires me to constantly be innovative and creative.
So you can cook?
Yes, I love to cook.
So does that mean, I watch, is it called Impossible Restaurants? And I see that often at times when the leadership is involved in the kitchen, it always messes things up. How does it work for you?
Well, I don't know the show that you're talking about. I'd be happy to actually watch it, but I think I think it's Kitchen Wars. It sounds similar to what you're talking about. So I think it's different. There's sometimes when the leader is involved in the kitchen, it brings order, or sometimes it just really messes up things. So it can go either way, negative or positively.
What are some of the cuisines that you're interested in? I don't know if that's the term you guys use in that field.
I love the Indian cuisine. The curries, because they're just so diverse. Like, you can taste one curry now, it can just be different from another curry. Like, their selection is very wide. It's not, they don't just stick to one thing, I believe. So I think what makes it different is the level of seasoning and the spices that they use. So that would be the cuisine. But the cuisine that our restaurant offers is diverse. It's based on homemade cooking.
Oh, okay.
So, like your boiled beef, your makaya chicken.
You're speaking
Like
my
we try
language now.
and yes, we try and cater to everyone. So it's not just one cuisine, but it's for everyone.
Out of curiosity here, and this is not part of, it wasn't intended to be asked, but I have to ask this question. Often at times when we travel, we hear of, oh, this is Nigerian food,
Yes.
this is Ndebele food. Do we have what we will term Swazi food? Like if somebody comes here and we say, listen, we're going to offer you some typical Swazi food. Do we have that?
I suppose we do, but what would it be? Like kwangekati, like insides, and lipapa, which is pap. But I think people are very curious when they're traveling. They definitely want to try different cuisines, like African food. I think it's termed African food, really. It's
So it's a
usually
mix
like
of
that.
many things.
Yeah, but most people are really curious about the Nigerian food, but how would we term our food? That's, I guess, Swazi food.
I guess you guys have to. Anyway, coming back to business. How many people have you got employed at the moment?
So I have about 12, if not 11 employees. They range from waiters, hostess, chefs, cooks, and housekeepers and drivers. Yes, so those are my employees.
Nice. And what are some of the challenges that a person in your line of business will face? Or, and we're asking this question in light of the fact that there are young people who want to go into the hospitality space. What should they anticipate to be some of the challenges that they'll have to contend with?
I think the biggest one would be market competition.
Is it saturated?
You know, market competition, it is. I think a lot of people are really going out to open businesses. And sometimes you can open a business that's the same as mine. And the reason why I say market competition is because there is market competition, that's the first thing, but it should be in a positive light. Like if somebody has the same business as I shouldn't be jealous of them opening up a business, but I should be more motivated to do better in my area of the business. So I think that you constantly have to be creative and innovative in the product that you provide in order for you to stay relevant. And then another challenge, that I would think entrepreneurs face is financial inconsistencies. You know, most entrepreneurs think that they always have to win, and it's not like that. You know, some days you lose. You can't always be progressing and making money. There's some months where, you know, it's very dry, especially in this industry. You know, there are months where you have 100% room occupancy. Maybe all rooms are filled out. The restaurant is doing well. And there's just some days where it's just off peak, and it's just like, where are the people? Where are the customers? And you have to physically go out and start looking for business to different companies. So I would say those would be the challenges that you would face in this type of industry.
Do you think the hospitality sector is ready for another COVID if there were to be another COVID?
Do I think what?
The hospitality sector is ready for another COVID if there were to be any?
Well, hopefully not, because it was a horrible year or years for some of us. But I wouldn't be able to predict if it does, or any other virus or anything that would attack us. I think it would suffer because it lost good amount of money. The hospitality industry wasn't doing well because people were staying at home and, you know, prefer cooking at home and doing everything at home, even though a lot of businesses started off at home. So I think my take would be, it would be affected, but I think now that we know how to prepare for certain challenges, we'll be able to better manage it, I would think, than before.
Maybe one of the challenges I would want to think any employer would face is the skills that people bring into the business. Is that an issue for you guys? Like how skilled people are? Or is your vetting so good that that's not an issue?
In terms of what exactly?
So, like, for example, someone says, hey, listen, I'm a chef. I'm able to do this. But then when you, after employing them, you realize, yeah, you may have the basics, but it's not what I really want or what I'm really looking for.
Okay. I think having a skill set is very crucial. Those are the type of people you want to employ. But unfortunately, in our day and age, it's all on paper. I can have the best qualifications written down on paper and look for a job, and I might not even still get the job, and somebody else will get the job. But I still think the skill set is important, because if I hire someone, I look for those particular qualifications, but at the same time, on the job, they must still perform. If you tell me that you can do something, I need to see you doing it. And then there's some people that are very quick learners. They learn on the job, and their attitude is very positive. But to answer your question, I think the skill is very important, to hire people that know what they are doing, and not just have it down on paper only. Because I can seem, good when you look at me and you see my CV and, a well-crafted resume. Everything is perfect, but then once I start the job, it's like, why was I hiring you in the first place? Like,
I don't know if, just to pick your brains on this, I've heard people say they would rather hire someone with character than with skills. Where do you stand as far as that is concerned?
Whew. That is good. That's a good one. Character is everything, I believe. That's where you get tested as a person. That one is tricky. I would want both, though. But your character takes you far. Your character is who you are, how you speak to people, how you solve problems. It defines you. So yes, I think character is definitely important also in the workplace.
I want you to talk to me about mentorship, people that mentor you, but also extend it to the value of mentorship in your line of business. Why is it important to have people that are constantly speaking growth and betterment into your life and your business?
Very important. I always say that you cannot sustain yourself all by yourself. You need people. You need people around you that will help you grow mentally and physically and spiritually. They should be able to add value into your life and not just take from you. So, like I said before, I look up to a couple of people like Ndumi Mthethwa. She's also my sister, but every time I have anything I need to ask her some advice, she definitely pulls through for me and she gives me advice. As in my journey, in my entrepreneurship journey, I've realized the importance of networking as well. Networking will take you very far. I think often we sit down and, we think, I'm such an introvert, I can't talk to people, I'm very shy, I can't do this. I think sometimes that's the devil speaking into your mind, because what God has set out for you is within you, and He did not give you the spirit of fear. So I have been trying. I wouldn't say I have specific mentors, but like I'm saying, in my journey right now, I've realized the importance of networking and going out and talking to people. I mean, I've noticed a couple of people that I want to approach and maybe possibly ask for partnership in my other projects that I'm working on. So I'm still scouting for mentors. So I'm here, please.
Do you look for people internally in terms of Eswatini, or do you also look for people outside of the country?
Both. You have to start locally, and you realizing that you have to start somewhere before you go global. And of course, there's other people I look up to internationally. One of them is Ndumi, an amazing public speaker. I actually absolutely adore him because of his confidence. That man can capture a crowd like it's nothing. So it's people like that, I see myself actually being with people like that and aspiring to become like them.
I'm sure you've also made mistakes in your entrepreneurial journey, but what are some of the mistakes that entrepreneurs make in their entrepreneurial journey?
I think the biggest one would be being money driven,
Okay.
then being result driven. I
And
don't know
what's
if
the
that makes
difference?
sense. So, listen, money is great. That's the whole point of you opening up a business, to make money, right? And again, I'm not going to quote scriptures. Money is the root of all evil, but but I think that what I think is important-ish is that focus on the passion and building character and doing what you love, and everything else will start making sense and actually following through. Because now if you start focusing too much on, I need to make money, there are days where, like I said before, there are days where you're going to win and there's days where you're not going to win. So what are you going to do if you don't start making the profit? You're going to start beating yourself and, frustrating yourself. So I think that would be my take on some of the challenges. And also having no business plan. Most entrepreneurs, or when someone decides to start a business, they don't write down what they need. And I think that entrepreneurs who don't research their target market, competitors and industry, trends, they risk a lot, because you have to be able to have a business plan for you to have a direction. Yes.
I think I also had somebody speak of, actually it was advised, a Christian businessman saying something to the effect of, don't venture into a business that you don't fully understand. Would you say that maybe that's one of the mistakes that we see? Oh, there's an opening. Everyone is selling hand sanitizers right now, so I might as well go in there, yet we don't even understand how the thing works.
Yes. Market research.
Ah,
People don't take the time to sit down and ask themselves, like SWOT analysis, what are my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, what is out there for me that I can do? And I think it falls down to, what are your passions? Ungabuki ukuthi Ishmael wendani, ay nami asengende kona. And that kanza so faila in something that God never wanted you to do in the first place. That's why it's so important to pray for your plans and your vision, so God can actually guide you. So yeah, I think that's my take.
Where maybe this will be a difficult question, but it's one that needs to be asked in terms of business. The value of financial literacy before people venture into business, because often at times we know what money is, but we don't know how money works. Would you, looking back at your life, would you say you went into business with the understanding of how money works before you went in, or you had to learn when you got in?
I think it's the second one. I had to learn when I got in. Luckily, like I said, I had parents who are deep in the business industry, and they know the mistakes they've made, and they don't want us to make the same mistakes. I got into it with my head so passionate. Oh, I just want to do this. I want to order 25, I'm just making an example, packages. I want to redecorate the restaurant, renovate it, add this and do that. It sounds so nice saying it, but it's going to cost you money to do that. Do you have a budget for what you want to do? And you have to have your expenses lined up, and your expenses shouldn't be more than what you're actually making. So it's just the small basics that I'm also learning as I'm going, that, the profit that you make is the one that makes more sense. But at the same time, you have to decrease on your spendings.
You're in the hospitality business or line of business, but I'm curious to know, do you have long hours, or do you sleep as much as you want? How's life as far as that is concerned?
Sleep is good. You have to rest. But the hospitality industry is very brutal, I must say. Like I said before, I've never been involved, and it's just now that I'm starting to learn about it. You constantly have to be taking care of other people, taking care of guests. Any guest that walks in, you have to smile. Even when you're having a bad day, you don't have to show any emotion. You have to cater to the guest at all times. So about in terms of hours, it's really all day, but we close around 10. But if we have people that want to come in and use the restaurant, there's usually an exception. So it really differs. Sometimes it's long hours. You stay in the kitchen. You don't even sit down. You have to make sure that the food is well prepared, the food is well stored. How many guests are we serving? What time are they leaving? Because every guest is different and they have different requirements of what they need. So that's where it becomes tricky, because it's like now you start giving yourself, which is something that you shouldn't do, but you have to, like I said, you have to balance it.
Give me, without mentioning names, the most difficult guest you've had to deal with, or client.
There's so many. Ooh, oh my gosh. I have this saying that says, well, it's a saying that's been there for a while, that the guest is always right. And honestly, the guest is not always right. But you just have to, compose yourself and follow through. There was this one particular guest. So the first thing is he didn't want his windows open. So I'd have to tell the ladies that don't open his windows, just clean and maybe open the air conditioner just to get some fresh air and, clean the room, and then don't open the windows because he would be afraid of bugs. And then he would want his food a specific way, on like the plating of the food. It wanted a specific way, and if it's not plated that way, he would take it back. And then they have to plate it a specific way he wants it. Or sometimes he would just request random meals the next day, like he wants to eat this today, doesn't want to eat this. So it's just complex. Or today he doesn't want to sleep in this room, tomorrow he'd like to request another room because he saw a bug in the room. So it's just oh my gosh, you deal with so many issues. But then, like I said, in this industry, you don't have to show emotion sometimes. You just have to keep a smile on your face and compose yourself and have a good emotional intelligence to say things, but in a polite manner, without offending the guest.
Oh dear, bugs.
Bugs, yeah.
So what advice would you have for someone who is in this line of business or industry? Especially an upcoming person. I'm thinking of a person who is maybe 40 or less.
Stick to the plan. Go back to your drawing board. You have to plan. I forgot the saying that says you plan to succeed, or somewhere along those lines. But you have to plan for you to know what direction you're heading to. And there's no such thing as overly planning. I believe in planning and strategizing. So that would be the first step. And often we don't stay consistent. I think consistency is very important. You can't just do something one day and then tomorrow so face your fears. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Don't be afraid to tell the truth. And don't be afraid to fail. I know it sounds like it's the normal thing to say sometimes, but it's the truth, because failure will lead you to your success. It will lead you to the right doors and the right people. And just keep on going and try to improve yourself in all aspects of your life in terms of growth. Learn from people. Don't try to be a know-it-all person, because we are definitely not a know-it-all person. I don't know a lot of things. I learn from people above me, below me, wherever. I talk to everyone, all walks of life. People have some advice that you wouldn't even think they do. Strangers, be humble, be teachable, And yeah, like I said, stay consistent and stick to the plan and know what you want in life and avoid distractions. Because sometimes distractions can, have us going in different directions instead of focusing on the goal that we want. Your distractions can be anything like friends, can be anything like going to parties or drinking, and that can really steer you away from what God wants you to do. So, yeah.
I'm about to ask some difficult questions, and I know you're going to beat me up after this. The first one has to do with how do you deal with failure? Because I don't believe there is a person who is successful in everything. You spoke earlier about how many a times have you applied but you were rejected.
Yeah.
How do you deal with failure in your personal life?
I cry.
Which is a good thing.
No, crying is good. But then I dust myself off and I tell myself that there's nothing that will keep me down for long. I think we have to have that kind of mentality of I might fail today, but I'll still keep going. And it's not just with the applications where I've seen myself fail a couple of times. Again, I'm going to try not to mention names or people, but there was a time where I was I was planning on hosting, I host business dinners. And the type of business dinners I host requires me to actually go out and network and look for sponsorships and look for partnerships. And that is very brave of me because I have to meet people I don't know, meet CEOs and actually walk into the room and say, hey, I would like to have your money. But, you have to be brave and confident. So I've seen myself in certain areas where I was rejected looking for sponsorship because some people were like, well, we don't know who you are and we can't just give you the money, So I just had to keep on going. And next year I'm going to host my third one and I'm going to still keep going because I'm not a failure. And like I said, failing will lead you to your success. You might have a couple of doors closed, but trust me, there will be some doors that will open for you.
Okay, this was a difficult one. Talking about hosting these dinners and approaching the CEO, what are your 2 principles that you have to apply at all material times when you are selling or pitching an idea to a CEO?
You should have the business plan. Like I spoke, the proposal. You have to have a proposal in hand. You have to trust yourself. You have to know what you're talking about because CEOs, they don't have time. They're very busy people. They want you to get straight to the point about what you want. And when you get there, fine, you might have uncertainty about certain things, but your confidence has to be there. They want to see your passion in what you're doing and whatever you're working on will benefit their company or the industry in line with what you're doing as well. So that's the 2 things that I try take with me. Be prepared and dress appropriately, look presentable. You can't show up to a bank and you're dressed up in jeans or anything that deters from, it's a bank, it's a professional setting. So you have to go in there prepared, you have to go in there professional and know your work, know what you want to say to them.
Me knowing your mom, she's a woman of excellence. It's either it's done excellently or it's not done at all.
True.
Speak to a young person who is doing something because it's easy to go into the hospitality sector. I'm thinking there was one time when I went to this one place. I don't know, it was because it was less than 3-star. But I went to this one place and the bedding was just terrible.
Oh, no.
And because I had no choice and I was in a foreign land, I just needed a place that was safe for the night. I ended up not sleeping, but because it was terrible and there was just nothing they could do to help me. Speak to us about the value of excellence.
Were you sleeping with one eye open?
Didn't even sleep at all, because it's just that cringe-worthy environment.
Oh, that must have been a cringe experience.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I love that question. So, like you said, that's the type of woman that raised me as well. And I think egupoleni, people love that place because of how clean it is. Like you said, when you do something, I want, you do it with excellence and not, you don't just half do things. So we just pride ourselves in like clean rooms, clean sheets. We make sure that the interior is also on par. Again, we're not perfect, but the most important thing that we realize is cleanliness, because you can't just have a guest walk in or come into the rooms and they feel like they don't want to sleep there. When you walk into the room, it must smell good. That's the first impression for me, that, oh, it smells amazing. The sheets are white, they're clean, the bedding, there's the hot water. Just a few details in the room that make it Egupoleni for me stands out. And, Egupoleni actually means a place of rest. It's like a heaven place. So that's exactly what we offer there. And, we've had really good reviews, and we are constantly still trying to improve in every aspect where we can.
Let's talk light-hearted issues. What are you currently reading? What podcast are you listening to? How are you bettering yourself?
Phew. What am I currently reading? There's a book called Women at Work. I forgot the author, honestly. Sometimes I just get into the book and I start reading because it's so interesting, but I'll remember it. It's basically talking about challenges women face in the workplace and how to overcome them. I love books that motivate me to become better. And just overall, well, I'm a fiction person, but I usually love to read nonfiction because that will somehow help me in my personal life. And I think, what was the other question you asked me?
A podcast you are watching, listening to?
Podcasts. I'm not a podcast person. I'm not a podcast person, but any that you would recommend, I wouldn't mind. I'm open to listening, but I'm not a TV person. I'm not a podcast person.
Craig Groeschel on leadership.
Okay.
That will be good. Craig Groeschel on leadership. And let's stick to that one for now. I think Craig Groeschel will then take you to other places. Yeah. Incredible when it comes to leadership. What will be your last message to the young lady listening to us who wants to venture into business someday?
So I'm a Christian. So please allow me to quote some verses in the Bible that I think have paved me to becoming the person I am and helping me throughout my journey. So I love Exodus 23, verse 25, that says, "Serve the Lord your God, and he will bless your bread and water." I live off this verse both in my spiritual and entrepreneurship journey, because without God, I am nothing. People have, their beliefs, and this is just my belief, that I cannot function without him. And to the young lady or to the young man that wants to start a business in entrepreneurship or venture into entrepreneurship, you should always have your whys. So your whys is basically, why did you start? Why do you want it so bad? And not just do it because, like you said, your friend started a business, I'm also going to start a business. Do it for yourself and know why you're doing it. So that's what I would say. Don't give up. Honestly, I know it sounds like, again, cliche, don't give up, even when times are hard. But don't, because giving up will mean you're giving up on yourself, and you never want to give up on yourself.
Social media? You or any of your businesses on social media?
Yes. So Egupoleni is on social media, Facebook and on Instagram. Buzobo Restaurant is also on Instagram. So I think it's Buzobo _catering. I'll have to check it again, but it's that.
It will be there on our Facebook page.
Yes.
And the young person at home, we do encourage you to check out our Facebook page, Be the Best You Can Be, and you can get some of our previous broadcasts from that page. You can get any information about us. And if you're a young person battling with whatever that you're dealing with and you need an ear to listen or a shoulder to lean on, we are here for you. If we can't help you, we can always recommend a Christian counselor or somebody who can intervene. And whatever it is that you need from us, we are here for you. We don't want you to suffer in silence. It broke my heart this week to hear that there is a young person who committed suicide. And I felt like if only we had known, if only he had reached out to us, we would have been able to either help him or send him somewhere where he can get help. So let's reach out, because there's always help available. Well, that's my lot for the day. Till we meet again, God bless you.